RedZoneSports.bet, the British home of American sports.
Hello and welcome back to the SportsHeads NBA edition, sponsored by RedZoneSports.bet. My name's Tori and I am joined today by my favourite co-stars. We've got Nick.
Hello, hello.
And we have Steve.
Hey.
Howdy, howdy. So I'm going to start this week with bragging rights. Last week you may have seen that we did a Pick'ems show where I presented 5 games to the guys and they said who they thought were going to win. Who you thought?
Yeah. Not who was going to win, who we thought was going to win.
They seemed to copy each other quite a lot. So the deciding game was Tuesday's game, which was the Clippers versus the San Antonio Spurs. Nick, who did you go for?
Well, I went with the Clippers.
That's all we need to go for, didn't we?
I went with the Clippers.
Steve.
It should stop right there because 5 right. Every single game right. Guess I'm the analyst.
You got like a sports. You got like a sports almanac with you? Yeah. You got lucky. He got lucky.
I was going to say, I think you're going to have to be prepared for this show to take a little bit of a.
4 out of 5 isn't bad.
What did I say to you though? Don't bet against the Spurs.
Which is why I went.
I did watch that on replay.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay.
Lesson
that was week 1, so we'll see how this week goes.
Lesson learned.
There we go. It's begun. So we're going to start this show talking about Melo. Talking about that ejection the other day. Obviously, there's been a few kind of comments on it. It was a scrap that a little bit because I can't even say it. Is it flagrant?
Flagrant too.
Okay. Ejected for a flagrant foul. I can't get my words out this morning. Flagrant foul 2.
Yes.
Do we agree with it to begin with?
Well, looking at the play, so I'm a bit. This is where I'm the analyst because I've seen so many Melo games, being a Knicks fan, that I've seen this move that he did. He comes in, he does this double pump where he goes into the defender to draw the foul, which makes sense. And in this play, it was going away from the basket when he kind of did his move. So I actually thought it was a maybe not flagrant 2 foul. He ejected. That was a bit severe, but I think it was more than just a common foul. And I've watched him do it year to year, and every time he does it, I think, ooh, that it looks nasty.
I think the issue here is that like the crew chief turned around and said that the move was unnatural, and that's the reason why he felt that it should be a flagrant 2. It was a physical play, but I think for me, this is the kind of play we're seeing across the league. It's not something that's out of the ordinary. I mean, players are creating contact in a variety of ways now, and it's a different type of game than it was before, as you all know. The game was much more physical back in the 80s and the 90s. This play wouldn't have made that much difference back then. I mean, I sit and think about like a guy like a Bill Lambier, Pistons legend. He wouldn't have lasted 2 minutes on his court in this type of game. So I thought it was excessive, and I agree with what Reggie Miller said afterwards. It was soft, and that's what the NBA has become. It's become very, very soft.
I agree, and I think that hurts the game. I think it hurts the product, hurts the fans. It's not as passionate, and in the game nowadays, everyone's buddy. Yeah. Everyone grew up together. They're all pals, and
Westbrook obviously came out and said that he got hit in the face too.
Well, he did,
and there's clearly some inconsistencies going on.
He did, and that was the play before this one, which I think led to it. It's probably Melo, tensions are high. I mean, it's basketball, tensions are high, and that's what makes the game great, I think. But so he went in to draw a foul and just did it a bit awkwardly. And
I think that's the thing, isn't it? The players, the first complaint they'll always have about anything is inconsistency. They don't mind necessarily how the game's called. But if you've got to call it exactly the same way through the whole game. If you're going to let that go, then you've got to let the rest of everything else go.
Or you review every time someone gets hit.
Yeah, and we can't do that. There's just no way to do that. I think the other thing as well is I think it showed off the Thunder's play so far this season. They're very frustrated with the way that they've started the season. Are Melo and Westbrook not happy with more than just what happened in that game? And that would be my question. I think it's probably the case.
It's a whole other talking point.
That is a whole other talking point. I think they'll, as a team, they'll mesh. I looked at Melo's numbers. His numbers actually, I don't know if it's good or bad, but the same as what they were last year. So they're all still getting theirs, and I think it'll, it takes time to gel together. Things like this don't. I actually think the things like this will help the team, bring them closer together. It's kind of us against them, us against the league.
I can see that.
So moving across to West Coast, Britain's own.
Yes.
Deng.
Wow.
Obviously, he's now been told that he's not playing. He's out of rotation. What do we think? I know we had a discussion about this earlier. What do we think's next for him? Is he going to get a buyout?
I think that the next thing for him is he's not going to be in LA. This is one thing for sure. He's got this year and 2 more years left on his contract. He signed $72 million over 4 years. I think the Lakers are going to look to try and buy out that contract because ultimately they just want to get rid of him. Then wants to be able to get playing time elsewhere. I think it's just a matter of exactly where he's going to go. For me, I think the Rockets is a good landing spot for him. I think he'll work very well there, and I think he can complement Harden and CP3 over there. And he wants, I think, to play for a contender. That's something that he wants to kind of finish his career with. He's been a 2-time NBA All-Star. Why not finish it with a championship? The other team I'd love to throw out there is Milwaukee. I think he would really suit their game really well. They've obviously just got him bled, so maybe Den going over there as well gives them enough experience playing the locker room, plays under the Jason Kidd system, and I think he would work out incredibly well for them.
No, I can see that. I think wherever he goes, it's going to have to be a veteran team. Someone like a Milwaukee, Toronto, I want to say. Someone who's, just that missing piece away. And I love Deng. He does everything well. He's not going to lose you a game, but he's probably, he's not going to win you a game either. So for him, as far as the Lakers, I think it's just a case of good all-rounder. But Lakers just, wrong fit.
He is a completely wrong fit for them, and I think that the thing is with him is that as long as you know with Deng what you're going to get, I think the problem is in the past is he's kind of almost been like the second option on a lot of teams, and he really isn't that because he hasn't got a consistent 3-point shot. He tends to stay around about 30%. He needs to be the defensive stopper that we all know he can be. Okay, so his defensive game has fallen off somewhat, but he can still play a role on a team. So as long as you're not asking for a lot of scoring and can take his opportunities, then I think that's where the fit comes in, and that's why I think the Rockets and an experienced head may be on the path.
What about maybe Minnesota, back with Tibbs?
Oh, do we really want another former ball on the Timberwolves?
No, I don't.
That's what we should start calling it.
I like that. I like that.
We can go with that. So now, talking about one of your faves, James Harden.
I do like James.
He obviously dropped a career high a couple of days ago with 56. He just fell short of the current record from Calvin Murphy's record of 57. So, what do you think? Were you impressed?
I was very impressed. For me, this was like the stand-up performance of the week. Gonna get a few notes there. So 35 minutes, he had 56 points and only took 25 shots, which is incredible, really. Usually 25 shots is 2 points a shot. So he also had 13 assists and shot 76%, which all this adds up to. He is the only person since Wilt Chamberlain have 50 points, 10 assists, and shoot over 75% for the game, which is a lot of information. But basically, it just means how effective he was. And for me, that was like one of the most time-effective performances I've ever seen. He controlled that game more than anyone, going back to Jordan. That's what I was thinking when I was watching it. Just the way he did whatever he wanted. So for me, I was beyond impressed.
I think, it's a very efficient performance. I think that's the one thing you can take out is everything he did very, very well. And I think, for me, it shows again that he should actually be the leader of this team. CP3's been brought in to be the guy that can kind of like run the show. Harden can then maybe play off of him. But I don't think it works. Just put the ball in Harden's hands. At the end of the day, he's shown again that even with CP3 out, that he can be the guy that is going to be the one that can take this team going forward. CP3, where he fits with that, I don't really know. A tremendous performance by James Harden. I never really was actually a fan with him to start off with, but I honestly think for the Rockets, I think he's been tremendous for them, and I think he has now found his niche, and I think again he is going to be the guy that ultimately will have a big say whether the Rockets can dethrone the Warriors in the West.
So he keeps proving Mikhail wrong, because obviously Mikhail came out on NBA TV saying that he doesn't believe that Harden has leadership qualities, that people don't necessarily listen to him in the locker room. Clearly he's kind of showing something a bit different to that.
This game and the whole of last season proves Kevin McHale's wrong, and I don't know, Kevin McHale's kind of has been, in case he's watching, but he's back in the 80s. I don't think he's with today's players, and I'm sure he had a bad run in Minnesota and he ran out of there. He's not the kind of guy I want around today's players, Kevin McHale.
Obviously, he made a point that he didn't agree with him being made point guard either. So,
well, I don't agree with Kevin McHale.
No, I must admit, I don't agree with Kevin McHale to a point. I think you might be a bit harsh to him a little bit. Is that some of that Knicks stuff coming through? The Knicks and the Celtics, maybe?
Yeah.
But
other than that, he's okay.
No, but I think again, it's like after he finished his career in Boston, it has been like one issue after another. Tremendous player. I mean, it takes me and you back to when we first started watching the game. But as anything other than a player, I think McHale just comes out with some really random stuff. And he kind of wants to find the next job for him, but criticising Harden in this respect, I think it's sometimes very easy to jump on James Harden because we know he is a little bit of a defensive liability at times, but you can't question what he does offensively and how much he is actually the leader of this team. So I think Mikhail's kind of picked the wrong fight here.
Yeah.
Once again.
Once again.
Okay, moving over. I'm sorry, we're going to Dallas. What's going on with the Mavs? Obviously, they had a 6-game slide. They did finally win on Tuesday against the Wizards, but they have won against the Wizards out of the last 14 out of 15 meetings. Was this a random one-off? Do you think they're on the way down? Are they on the slide?
I think it's really hard for me because Dallas is like my second home. I go there every year. I'm a huge Dirk fan. You know, I'm a Bulls fan anyway. But I mean, to watch Dirk play is one of those things that you must do, I think, at some time in your life. But to see where Dallas is now, they are really struggling. I think they want to try and do this rebuild with Dennis Smith Jr. But you've still got Dirk, and he still wants to play. And I think it's very difficult to kind of move away from him. And I think had he not won the championship, I think they might have asked Dirk if he wanted to go and play elsewhere potentially and try and get that ring. But I don't think, obviously, now he's got the ring, we're not going to see that. They're kind of riding this out. I'm not going to say Dallas necessarily want Dirk to retire, but it would be better if they did actually move on from Dirk because Dirk is a defensive liability now. There isn't much else there apart from Dennis Smith Jr. to get excited about. I do think it was kind of like one of those things where a team, for whatever reason, can beat another team. We see it strange circumstances where this does actually happen, and I think this is one of those. So I wouldn't expect the Mavs to get off of the bottom of the Western Conference standing.
They basically just need to keep playing the Wizards for the rest of the season, and they'll be all right.
Yeah, this is true. No, I agree fully with everything there. Dirk, you know, you're not going to push him out. He's earned his right to complain. I mean, he's 40 years old though, so he's not going to be what he was. And they're just a team in transition, I guess. So they're going to be at the bottom all day. But I did actually note down, so that they're 2-10, and they've lost to Timberwolves, Pelicans, Clippers, 76ers. So I mean, there's some good teams in there. They're not just losing to any old bums. But their season is done.
But could you see them beating like the Hawks, beating the Bulls, and even teams like that? I mean, it's been a strange NBA season so far, in so much as that, you know, some teams are beating other teams we wouldn't necessarily expect. But
a lot of twists and surprises.
There has.
Early season.
Welcome to the NBA.
It's the reason why you don't bet on the thing.
That's right. Well, you can bet. But yes,
you can.
That's why I don't bet.
So Bledsoe heading to the Bucks.
To the Bucks.
So do we think this is going to help them move up the Eastern Conference? Is it going to provide a little bit of movement at first, obviously with the gelling, at least it's at the start of the season?
I loved it. I think this is a great move for Milwaukee. I mean, I'm a big Bledsoe fan. I think combine him with what they already have there, I think it was great. I look at the other side. I think it's telling more about the Suns though, because while Monroe's he's a good, decent player. I mean, he'll get you, the points, double, but it's just how does he fit into that team? As I said, he's already got, they've got Chandler there, Alexander, Allen Williams. I just don't see. I know you had to get something for him, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot by announcing that he was done playing for them. But I don't like the move for Phoenix, but I love it for Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And I think this is it. I think any time a team announces that it comes out that a player doesn't want to play there anymore, you are kind of then over a barrel. You've got to get rid of him and try and get something for him. And I think Phoenix, I agree. I mean, they're a team that's in transition. We'll be interested to see exactly how they work out over the next 18 to 24 months. But from a Bucks point of view, I think this is a really good move for them. It gets Giannis, like another player there that can help him. I think the other guy that's really going to benefit from this is a guy like Chris Middleton, who's struggled so far with his three-point shot. You get Bledsoe out there, you get Giannis out there. I think he's going to have more opportunity to have a shot that he can drain, and I think he will benefit most from this. I think not only we look at it from an offensive standpoint as well, but I think Bledsoe will actually benefit them defensively as well. And Kidd loves those types of players. Exactly. He loves being able to put these wing defenders out there that are going to cause all kinds of problems. And again, it's going to mean that Malcolm Brogdon's going to go to the bench. He was a starting point guard for them. It gives him a chance to play with a second unit, and maybe at times we will see Brogdon, we'll see Bledsoe, we'll see Giannis out there at the same time. And I think, again, that's going to cause problems for other teams. Milwaukee, I think, have made the move now that they will become a playoff team. I know they've got off to a slow start, but I can only see them being in the playoffs now. And again, they're a team like, again, last year, that a team didn't necessarily want to face, because Giannis in a playoff series could be interesting.
Yeah, no, it only strengthens them. And again, in the East, they're a lock for the playoffs for me. Probably 6th seed at worst.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that they'll be somewhere around about a 5-6 seed. You get them in the top half of those, I think they could be even more dangerous.
I agree. Yeah.
Hey.
We're
Hey!
in agreement
What
this
a
week.
wonderful kind of day.
Oh man.
We love to work and play and get along with each other. LeBron.
Ugh. Yeah.
I
Here's where
love
it
that
ends.
that was 100% my era.
Yeah.
Arthur.
Yeah.
He likes Arthur.
I don't know much about Arthur, I gotta admit. I'm not. Is it a kid's cartoon?
Oh, he's Arthur the Aardvark. He's a great guy. They teach a lot of lessons. Muffy taught you not to cheat on maths exams.
Yeah, see, I don't know that.
Teaching about believing in yourself. Do
Yes.
we think that he does just like Arthur?
No.
No.
LeBron knows what he's doing. So this is the tweet he put up, which I think we can show it up. So yeah, he put that up. I'm a bit torn on this one because I don't really understand the Arthur thing. You can see I don't really understand what it means. So he's angry and yeah, his mood. Now they're saying it was intertwined with the whole timing as when Kyrie Irving hit a game winner over Atlanta.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think this is an interesting one. I think from the point of view of every single time someone makes a social media post now, we all try and read so much into it as to what they're trying to, what they actually mean. And I think I made this before we came on now. I'd love to actually see LeBron kind of go out there now and just sort of one TV show after another, which is like an emoticon at the bottom.
Hey Arnold's next.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Yeah. like watch it just like, yeah, okay, like the touch paper and walk away. But you know, we do read too much into this. Who knows what LeBron actually means? I mean, he's come out and said, you know, oh, I like Arthur. We could be down to some of his teammates where they're playing. It could be down to Kyrie, but we really don't actually know.
And
so what's the point in questioning him?
Yeah, that's why he does it. I think I'm sure he loves it.
I was going to say, if there's something we need to know about, it's not like he's going to be able to keep his mouth shut for long anyway, is it?
That's
So
Players talk.
I love to talk. Yeah.
I think the bigger issue is, in some respects, is players having social media accounts. Yeah, I think this is one of those things. No, this is it. Nothing good does come from it. So why do we kind of not necessarily let them have social media accounts, but kind of tell them and say to them, look, kind of leave it alone for a bit because it's not fun anymore.
well, they just got to think about the consequences, really.
Yeah.
But then they probably do. So
Yeah, but
that's the fun of it, I guess.
Keeps their name in fresh as well.
Yeah.
So
Keeps you on the headlines.
They
That's
do
it.
not think before they click send.
neither do I. Just stay off my Instagram.
Right, staying Eastern Conference.
Mm.
We're looking at the Pistons' second best record, and they've played one less game than Celtics.
Right. Yeah.
What?
Well,
WTF?
yeah. I don't know. I'm a little bit torn on the Pistons. I think they're a good, all-around, decent team. I think they'll be there the playoff hunt, but I won't put them in there. They don't scare me coming out of the East. But they have a lot of veteran leaders and a good squad, and they're exciting to watch. It doesn't really surprise me actually saying this now out loud that they're off to such a good start because they are veterans. They know how to play, but for 82 games, we'll see where they finish up.
I think for me, it's the confidence level in a guy like a Stan Van Gundy. I think, you know, he's had his great times as an NBA coach. He's also had his issues. I think he does obviously, you know, benefit from having, like, Andre Drummond's playing tremendous right now. And I think it's interesting to see, like, the way he set up his rotations as well, because he's giving a lot of players a lot of playing time. And you might look at it and think, well, you know, do you really know, like, where your rotation is? But he's kind of, like, spreading the minutes, spreading the points. I mean, it's not unusual for them to have 5 players in double figures, 6 or 7 players with 7 or 8 points or more. So they don't tend to rely on one guy. Yeah, Drummond is obviously the big one they've got there. I think the one thing that I do have a bit of concern about them is Stanley Johnson being out for now a little while. He seems as though he's really come into his own for them. And I think losing him maybe, I think it's till like next Wednesday, next Thursday. We're going to see how well they adjust with him. They came from behind and beat the Pacers. I think they're looking like a really good team right now. Do I think they're the second best team in the East? No, I don't. No. But I do think they're a playoff team. But I think the scary thing about this is the fact that their fans don't seem like turning up to watch this team. They put a new arena in downtown, and the fans aren't turning up. And normally, when you have that arena in an area where more people can get to, they tend to turn up. But I saw loads of empty seats the other night when I was watching the Pistons game. So, do really Detroit people like the Pistons right now?
Yeah, I think that any time when you were saying, you know, all these guys and they're all average, you know, any person is dangerous any night. That reminds me of the Pistons from, you know, Richard Hamilton days, Ben Wallace, that kind of team. So if any fan base should get behind this kind of a team, it is Detroit, and you know, hopefully they will. I mean, I don't know what's going on NFL with the Lions. Is everyone watching them? I don't know, but they'll be there. The Detroit fans are usually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right there. 'Cause it's at 2004. A lot of people are now comparing this team to 2004 when they beat the Lakers in the finals, and a lot of people didn't fancy them to win that series. But the Pistons basically beat them with team basketball and with a hungrier team. Yeah. So if Van Gundy can get this team playing like that, I think it's going to be really, really interesting how they go over the course of a season. Celtics, obviously the big team in the East at the moment, but the Pistons are kind of looking at them going, yeah, okay, we're chasing you. Yeah, we can get you.
We're here.
Yeah. You can quietly chase. I mean, again, we're only a week into it, but or 2 weeks into it. But if you can quietly be thereabouts, that can only be a good thing going forward.
Favorite catchphrase at the moment?
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
I am literally banning that catchphrase from the show.
Well, yeah. We're getting later in the season now. I can't use that anymore.
So, Sixers. They've won the last 5 games on the trot. We've got some winning going on. Obviously, they've got a game. Is it tonight or tomorrow night? They've got one Saturday. Sorry, they won again last night. So,
yeah, I think the Sixers are looking nice. 5 in a row. It always looks good. They were. But what do you say? I mean, they were 1-4 before that. So were they terrible before? Now they're very good. It just adds up to they're even. I think this is what they. This is. They're a decent team, better than they had been for years, whether they're healthy or not. And this is without faults. So, yeah, it's a good thing. Winning is a good thing, but I'm not ready to say the 76ers are where they want to be yet.
I kind of like JJ Redick's comment this week, actually. He turned around and said that it's not a winning streak until we get to 5 games, and then kind of laughed about that. And I thought it was kind of like a nice touch. I think the Sixers have kind of got their winning ways. If anyone that's followed over the last few years has realised that it's been a hard time for the fans there. They've all been a part of this process, obviously, just bringing these draft picks. But now they're starting to see some fruition from that is the fact that Embiid is playing very, very well. I mean, Ben Simmons is playing very well. I mean, he's averaging 18, 10 and 8 right now. Embiid is 20 and 10 with a minutes restriction as well. And when you bring guys like JJ Redick and you bring in Amir Johnson, these 2 guys are great to have around. They know their roles on the team. Redick seems like he's really enjoying himself as well. So I think for them, they're going to be one of those teams that are going to be kind of round about, maybe a 50-50 team almost. They'll look good one night, maybe not so the next night. But they're going to be a playoff team. And again, are you going to want to play those teams? Maybe. It's going to be a bit of an interesting one to see how they go over the course of the season as they tend to find their feet. I mean, we don't know too much about Fultz right now because obviously his shoulder problems, but he is due to be coming back soon as well. So Sixers are fun to watch, and obviously we'll get to see them firsthand in London in January.
I was going to say, it makes the game more interesting. 76ers Celtics, that's going to be good.
Providing they keep managing correctly the injury situation, I think it's definitely.
Yeah, but I think they will. They're better than they were before, by adding Redick. God knows who else they got, but they're a better team. So, yeah, I think they'll be there.
I think I'll make a bit of a bold prediction here now, saying that the Sixers-Celtics game will kind of give us a bit of a preview of a first-round playoff matchup. So I think Sixers will be down towards like the bottom, maybe the playoff race, whereas the Celtics will be at the top. So, yeah, just maybe watch that game. I think maybe a bit of a preview of a first-round matchup.
That might have to be on the pick'ems.
There you go. Yeah.
So that brings us to a close of today's NBA show. We hope that you enjoyed it. Please make sure that you click like and click subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on any future episodes. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
You gotta keep your eye on the ball, boys. Check out our latest hoops offer. RedZoneSports.bet, the British home of American sports.